Dear friends, thank you for joining us here at the Bureau of Experimental Speech and Holy Theses. Thank you. Oh, This is our first installment of the Diction-for-Dollars, which happens almost every Thursday. Hi, you're just in time for Diction-for-Dollars. Our first Diction-for-Dollars Open Mic presenter will be Niko Solorio, who will be presenting lectures/church, and he'll be earning $1 a minute for his talk. So let's hear it for Mr. Niko Solorio.
Thank you. So, thank you. I'm doing a lecture on lectures, church style, sung in the key of G string. Thank you all for being here this evening in this holy church of nothing, and a lecture on how to lecture interpreted by me and my partner in crime. A lecture on nothing, a lecture on everything, a lecture on how the air is a tunnel to the divine. A lecture on the physiology of embarrassment. A lecture on any topic, but with the sole purpose of vainly name dropping as many important people you proclaim to personally know. A lecture featuring frequent references to obscure but extremely important people. no one present probably knows about. Meanwhile, repeatedly and condescendingly checking in with your audience to see if anyone knows or who or what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know, so, and sigh. A lecture on lectures. A lecture on the number of zero. A lecture on coffee. A lecture on lunch. A lecture on love letters. A lecture in one big breath. A lecture on breathing. A lecture as usual, but with a mildly uncomfortable object to your choice hidden somewhere where it's hard to forget its presence, e.g. Okay. Erroneous grasmophy, whatever. Mouth, anus, nose, armpit, wedged against your foot, never revealing the presence of the object to your listeners. A lecture exploring the answers to tonight's take-home quiz. A lecture on talking to your father. A lecture on the dog breed used to play the wolves in the Game of Thrones. A lecture on toasts. A lecture on tostadas. A lecture on sermons. A lecture on speeches. A lecture on proposals. A lecture on taking notes. A lecture on choosing the right mate. A lecture on the mating habits of ants. A lecture on the ethics of ant genocides. A lecture on appropriateness of pee. A lecture on microphones. A lecture on podiums. A lecture on listening. A lecture on enunciation. A lecture on Adderall. A lecture on talking to the hand. A lecture on misspelling. A lecture on all the fucked up shit. A lecture on people who speak too much. A lecture on people who say too much. A lecture on literal and metaphorical assholes. A lecture on texting, emotions, and cybersex. A lecture on lists. A lecture on performance art that has taken the form of or and incorporated lectures. A lecture on babies that learn sign language before their vocal cords develop so they can communicate from a younger age. A lecture on the differences between a lecture, a speech, a proposal, a sermon, etc. Speakers wearing several graphic t-shirts that they remove one by one over the course of the speech, with the graphics supplementing the lecture, like a PowerPoint presentation. That has been a lecture, Promising Prompts for the Radical Rhetor. You can get your own copy here at the lobby. Thanks. Oh, and thanks again.
So, Niko Solorio, thank you so much. Niko was our very first Diction-for-Dollars.
I love being a virgin.
Winner, everybody's winner tonight, Diction-for-Dollars. Oh, does he need to sign something?
He does. Let me get the pen.
Oh.
My autograph, of course.
Before I can give you your award, you have to sign something. Big savings you have received.
Sorry, this is moving a little unorganized. There we go. This is the second one. If you can please sign on this side, Niko.
How much does he win tonight?
$11.
$11 for Niko. Do I give him an envelope?
No, not necessarily.
There you go. So the way I think this will work, at least for tonight, is we're all going to count together. If you just put your palm out. Oh, and actually, let's go over it. Well, so everybody.
1,
2,
2, 3, 4, 5, 20.
7,
1,
8,
2, 3,
9,
4.
11.
Like Honey Boo Boo, holla make dollar make me holla. Thank you.
Actually, could I get the clipboard?
Yes, you can.
Oh, she can go up there and talk, make a little money for her college. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to try it?
Yeah. We'll never clap for you ever again.
She's eating a chocolate eyeball right now.
Sure.
Thanks. Do you want to go right away?
Sure.
Yeah, let me call you up. All right, we have our second Diction for Dollars participant about to come up. Mr. Lucas Wrench will be coming up. And he's going to be doing Song of the Brook for us for a few minutes. All right, Lucas, would you like to come up?
Okay, so I'm reading Song of the Brook by Alfred Lloyd Tennyson, as found in Public Speaking for Success by Dale Carnegie. I come from haunts of coot and hern. I make a sudden sally, and sparkle out among the fern to bicker down a valley. By 30 hills I hurry down, or slip between the ridges, by 20 thorps, a little town, and 100 bridges, till at last by Philip's farm I flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. I chatter over stony ways in little sharps and trebles. I bubble into eddying bays, I babble on the pebbles. With many a curve my banks I fret, by many a field and fallow, and many a fairy foreland set with willow weed and mallow. I chatter as I flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. I wind about and in and out, with here a blossom sailing, and here and there a lusty trout, and here and there a grayling, and here and there a foamy flake, upon me as I travel, with many a silver watery break above the golden gravel, and draw them along and flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. I steal by lawns and grassy plots, I slide by hazel covers, I move the sweet forget-me-nots that grow for happy lovers. I slip, I slide, I gloom, I glance among my skipping swallows. I make the netted sunbeam dance against my sandy shallows. I murmur under moon and stars in brambly wildernesses. I linger by my shingly bars, I loiter round my cresses. And out again I curve and flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. The end. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So let's hear it again for Lucas Wrench. We got 2 minutes and 25 seconds, which means unfortunately we round down here. So 2 minutes. And so,
But he has to sign.
oh, he has to sign first. Yeah. Wow. All right, if you'll just sign.
Are you the Pomona College?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so you sign on this side.
Oh. That's the number 2. Sweet. Thank you. And everybody together? 1, 2. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Tell your friends.
All right, if anybody has arrived late, we're doing Diction for Dollars until about 7:30 before our programming that begins at 8. Check. And if anyone would like to speak or read or do something weird, you're welcome to. You can get paid $1 a minute. You can read at whatever speed you want to. It doesn't matter. You can earn up to $20 tonight for 20 minutes. So just let me know. All right. Do we have any takers right off the bat who might like to come up? All right. You know, are you the next one?
I'm late too. I have some
Up next for Diction-for-Dollars, we're going to have Miss Juniper. But no applause, right?
Do you want to put on a funny hat or a mask? Look at this. Okay, you want to look at this if you tap it? You want to say echo?
Echo.
You want to try the ABCs?
No.
I'll do it with you.
E-L-C.
You don't like it? Come on, we'll do it together, okay? Ready? Because I don't know if these people know their ABCs. I'm gonna try it. Okay.
A-B-C.
Okay, let's go with E. Okay, ready?
E-S-C. Excited. I don't like it.
You don't like it? Do you want to send a message? You want to say anything? You want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Say it loud.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
I don't think we made it to a minute.
No, you did.
We
I
did?
made it to 1 minute and 8 seconds. Juniper earns $1. Congratulations. Congratulations. Do they get $1 each? So I guess she just has to sign here. Interesting. That's good. $1 each. You're gonna get $1. Yeah, is it just $1? Oh, a minute. Okay, there we go. There we go.
No, Juniper went. She was a little girl.
Oh, that one?
The little girl, yeah. What did she do?
I'm giving the big
It was a
girl talk.
combination of things. There was a little bit of ABCs.
Oh,
I
good.
think I got through many.
Darn, that's what I was gonna do. I don't want to bore the audience. But I heard it. That's very good. I'll wait till these guys sign up for it.
What time is it right now?
It's almost.
5:40.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna talk at 5:55.
Nice. Do you?
Lexie's story might take a little while.
No, it's a pretty short story.
What's
so-
it about?
Well, I said what should I talk about? I said first kiss, and I do have a first kiss story. But I might also talk about some other things more, but I got scared. I don't know.
you're gonna talk about a lot of different
Alright, you just write something down.
Are those your line dance? Yeah. Awesome.
All he does is mine.
All I do.
I've said that 4 times and he hasn't repeated me or responded to it one way or another, so I think that's it.
I think the phonetic spelling of my name is like exactly the same as my name.
What's your name?
Will.
Yeah.
Will
No, it only
Carpenter.
has one L.
Oh.
As in just
R. No, that audio.
R.
In no, the
It's a lower,
Carpenter.
it's a lower, it's a small uppercase I. Yeah, right?
Small
Yeah.
uppercase I.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a miniature uppercase I. Carpenter.
And the is the, like the
And the is a schwa. It's not an E.
It's like a U with a line over it.
No, it's a backwards lowercase e. Why would you do that? It's just true. Why would you do that?
So that you can communicate with
These are great. Here.
Yeah, that's all.
But so who is this? This
Right.
one?
Kind of.
Collaboration.
New York Experimental Speech. And it's through. It's not even one student. It's just a collaboration. Cool.
Good. We don't like most students.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
And you guys are just hoping to like see what kids think, or people
Well,
kids
I mean,
think.
it's multifaceted. It's a multifaceted project. And, yeah, it's just a free speech opportunity. I mean, nothing is just anything, but
Okay.
it is also just free speech.
Amazing.
Cool.
Let's
Lexie, tell me
Okay.
something.
Alright, should I go? Oh, yeah.
Let's no reading the book. It's cheap.
It's not, but I'm not gonna plan to, but I'm gonna go back on it. It's a good, I don't know. Sit down and call it.
All right. It's going great so far. This is so exciting. We've got some more contestants tonight for the Bureau of Experimental Speeches and Holy Theses Diction-for-Dollars. And let's see, so far we've done. So next up, we've got Lexie Kelly, who will be reading, who will be doing My First Kiss and Other Stories. A reminder to all the contestants that we are rounding down, so in order to get the full dollar amount, you have to go to the minute and over. And tonight it's up to 20 minutes, or $20. So, Lexie Kelly, would you like to come on up?
Sure.
Can we have a round of applause for Lexie?
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I am here to talk to you. I didn't really know what I was going to talk about before I walked in here, but then I asked my good friend Will Carpenter, whose name is spelled almost like it's spelled in English in IPA, but a little differently, for an idea. And he said I should talk about my first kiss, and I don't really know why what his motive is, but I'll tell this story, I guess. So. When I was in 9th grade, I went to a school in LA that was sort of very competitive in the West Coast way, which means trying to be Harvard-Westlake, as opposed to the East Coast way, which means trying to be Exeter. So a little different, but depressing. And it was called Viewpoint because it tried to have sort of it was giving a false impression of progressivity, which it really didn't have because it was really conservative. But everybody wanted to get into the community service society, and that's why you did community service, so you get into the honor society and put on your college apps. So I started going to the old folks home, which was what's it called now? It kind of died because of the recession, but it was called the motion picture home, Motion Picture and Television Fund in Calabasas, California, and I would go and help out the old people. And basically what that entailed was hanging out with them and wheeling them around in their wheelchairs and helping them get their lunch and stuff. And they were all industry people before they retired, so there were some really interesting stories. And there were other high school students there volunteering, and there was a boy there who was in 10th grade, and he went to the public high school, which was Calabasas High, and so he seemed a little dangerous, and I was talking to him, and he was talking to me about Viewpoint, and he said, what are Viewpoint girls like? Like, what do they do at parties? And I was like, I don't know what people do at parties, and they're just trying to hook up and stuff, because people were starting to hook up, and I was like, and he's like, oh, do you hook up at parties? And I just kind of was like, no, I haven't. And then he said, and he was like, really, you've never kissed anybody? I was like, no. And he was telling me all about his friend and how he and his friend just always hook up at parties, and he said, you want to hook up? And I said, like, right here in the old folks' home? And he said, yeah. And I said, I'll think about it. So I went home for a week, and I thought about it, and I told all my friends, and I was like, what should I do? And they said, I don't remember what they said. I think I blocked it out, which probably means they said I shouldn't do it, because then I guess you know where the story's going. So I came back, and I said, okay, I decided we should do it, but no tongue, because I don't know what I'm doing. So let's go slow. So we served the old people their food, and everybody always asks me when I say that I had my first kiss in an old folks' home if it was with an old person, and I say no, smart aleck, it was not. It was with Jordan Dorn, and later on everybody would get very concerned about Jordan Dorn because apparently there was another student named Jordan Dorn who went to Malibu High who raped a girl, but that wasn't mine. They just had the same name. So anyway, I told him, okay, let's go. We left the old people. We snuck around the corner, and we started kissing. And it was very unromantic because it smelled like adult diapers and vitamin smoothies. And there was no one told me you're supposed to close your eyes. So I was staring at the drop soiled laundry here sign the whole time, and and he totally put his tongue in my mouth. I was like, oh, come on, this is horrible. And then this woman motored past in her wheelchair, and we had to stop. And then I was all freaked out, and I felt after that my lip was tingling, so I thought I had herpes because it was 9th grade, and everyone was really concerned about who had herpes. And so then I threw some fountain water on it to try to counteract the herpes, but that didn't seem to be working either. And then after that, he asked me to be his after that he kissed me later, and he scootered off into the sunset, and the next time I went there he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I just kind of was like, I don't even know you, this isn't gonna happen. And he started sending me these really scary texts because I wasn't answering him, and he kind of turned into a stalker. So I told my mom that the old people made me sad and I never wanted to go back, and I didn't have to. And that is the story of my first kiss. And I'm trying to think if I have any other good stories or if I have to. See, yeah, I'm not sure how it works if there's a lull in the conversation, if you get that counts as you're talking. But last kiss? No. Worst kiss. Now that happened too also. That was probably Harvard Halloween last year, where some biting, but in the mouth part on the dance floor, like we're making out and you're biting, which is not, I don't think, how it is supposed to go. I know some pie, actually. I feel like that kind of counts for talking. You know, pi with the digits, the long one. 3.141592653589793238462643383279502884917. That's all I know, and that's not a lot compared to an infinite amount, but I just got bored after that. And I know that there are other stories, but I don't want to bore anybody, and it's hard for me to think of what they are. I'm trying to decide if this book is good. I got it from a book bin. CMC. There are some movies that I've seen really recently that are really, really good that I think you guys should watch. Because I'm in this class right now, Spanish film class, and it's really good. And we just watched Thesis last night, which is from the 90s, and it's about these college students who, one of them is doing her thesis, it means thesis, and they stumble upon this, these tapes, and they find out that people in their school are making snuff films, and then they have to kind of solve that mystery and not get killed. And it's also really good because it stars this woman, Anna Torrent, who is in one of the other movies that we watched as a little girl, was in this movie called Spiritu de la Colmena, which is the Spirit of the Beehive, which is about little girls at the start of the Spanish Civil War. And she's really amazing in that. And I feel like this movie is kind of an homage to her, to the character in the other film, played by the same actress at a very different age. There are a lot of questions of violence and film and stuff like that. And I guess the last thing I will share with you, because Adam looks bored, is a poem that I wrote when I was 3, and it's very short. It's just a chicken ate snow and a box of water, and that was my poem. And I don't really know much else about that. And then also the other poem that I wrote that year was again very short. I don't think I really knew what a poem was. I was just kind of coming up with a little. I always forget if it's an epithet or an epigram or an epigraph. One of the three. You know, whatever Oscar Wilde did. I was coming up with those more than poems. But one of them was children should go without the convention of mommies. They should go for comedy walks. Which is a principle that I still try to bring to the table every day in my dealings with children. I like them to go for comedy walks. And, got this book, but I don't think I'm going to read it. I work at the Coop store. I just think you guys should all come by guayaki because it's really delicious, and it's a powerful rainforest experience. And as someone who's had some powerful rainforest experiences of other varieties, I really think guayaki is one of the best that a very small amount of money you can buy. And also the other day I had a naked juice for the first time ever, and that was incredible because now I don't ever have to eat vegetables again. And that's my talk. So thank you for listening.
And Lexie, before I can give you your money, you'll need to just sign over back here. And back on the left side. Lexie is about to earn $9, or has earned $9. Awesome. Just sign right there. Pomona affiliated.
Great.
Excellent. And so the way we do this here is we count together. So, come out please. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Woo! That's the way it works here at Diction-for-Dollars at the Bureau of Experimental Speech and Holy Theses. Thank you so much for being here. If you've just walked in, we're doing, people are earning $1 a minute to speak on any topic they want, at any speed they want, in any language they want, in any whatever they want. You can say anything you want in the BESHT Free Speech Auditorium, and tonight you can also get paid for it. So up to 20 minutes. Next, also it should be noted that this is all being streamed online and recorded, so make sure you're aware of that as you come up. Next up is going to be, now if people are interested in signing up, you just come and find me, and I'll put you on the clipboard. Next up is Adam Horowitz, doing the phonetic version, and he's going to be doing Big Girl Talk. Can we hear it for Adam?
Thank you.
Okay. This is exciting. This is very exciting. Feels a lot different when you're up on the podium. I thought like the microphone would be really hard to handle, but it's not. It really picks up sound very nicely. Not as intimidated as I thought I might be. So I'm starting off a little fast, but I think I'll slow it down. If I'm worrying about words per minute, I'm trying to get my money's worth here, trying to get a bang for my buck. And I was thinking about words per minute, and it brought up a story at least some members of the audience are familiar with. This summer, I was working in Door County, Wisconsin. I was working at Gravity Trails, the most irresponsible of all zipline purveyors in the country, probably. Oh God, it's being streamed live. I forgot that until now. So I was working as a zipline guide, rock climbing, ziplining, mountain biking, but mountain biking was like biking down a dirt path, like 40 feet to get to the zipline. So that was okay. And I had a customer about 40 years old with a daughter, and I was out there with another guide, and this man stepped onto the platform, and he was going to do something which you call the trust fall or the Jesus fall, but people don't say the Jesus fall as much because people don't like that sometimes. He climbed up this ladder, and he got on there, and he spread his arms out, and I was like, there's one rule: you don't touch the zip line. And there's one rule, and he insisted on breaking the one rule. So he starts falling backwards. He's a pretty big guy. He's got some weight on him. He starts falling backwards, and about a foot off the platform, he freaks out. He grabs onto the zip line with two hands, and it's sort of this flash of light and red. And you don't really know what happened. Zip lines are held up by a razor-sharp trolley that goes over airplane wire. We always said it like supports 14,000 pounds. I'm not totally sure if that's true. The point is, it's pretty hard, and the cable is pretty sharp. So this guy falls back, trolley rolls over his hand, he whips them up open. I don't really see anything till he gets to the other side. He's holding his hand, and the reason it brought up words per minute was because the first thing this guy said was, he was like, I think my words per minute are going to go down a little bit. And he was like making a joke, and I was like, it's amazing, you're making a joke. And then he takes his hand off his hand, and he's just missing half his pinky. It was fascinating. He went straight from like being in shock as to like loss of blood or the fact that he didn't have a pinky to making jokes about his words per minute, which was incredible. After we got him to the hospital, we realized that you could probably reattach your pinky once it was off. And so we went searching in the woods, and I was the proud finder of the pinky. At first, it looked a lot like one of those Halloween pinkies you get like in the gummy sets. It looked just like one of those. And then I turned it over, and while I was looking at it, I was like, this isn't that bad. I can carry this back to the hotel without vomiting. And then I turned it over, and like a ligament just kind of like popped down and started like swinging in the wind. And I was like, maybe I can't do this without vomiting. So I put it in a rubber glove, and I was biking back to the motel, and I was like, oh God, I've lost the pinky. Oh God, like where is it? Oh God, I can't see it in this rubber glove. It's his pinky, shit. And then it turned out that the pinky had just fallen into the pinky finger of the rubber glove, which was sort of terrible, kind of beautiful, maybe less beautiful than terrible. Speaking of terrible things, Lexie brought up bad moments at Harwood Halloween. It brought up in my mind bad moments at Foam, the terrible things people will do when they're covered in soap and you can't tell people apart. I think anonymity is really powerful. I will get there, but I'm not there yet. My last experience at Foam, I had a conversation with a friend who I did not know was engaged in some sort of intercourse because I couldn't see below his belly button. But more importantly, on the subject of anonymity, I recently wrote an opinions article for the TSL, which I thought I might summarize for you because I remember it and I can talk about things I remember. So at Pomona, we talk a lot about community membership. Sponsor groups are meant to bond kids together. We have groups based on whether you're what your race is, what your sexuality is, where you come from. We sort of parse people off into small groups to form communities. Communities are powerful. People appreciate the backing. It makes them stand together. It gives them some sort of inspiration to speak, and it makes people less afraid, gives them something to stand on. My article was about a sort of a danger of community, and like a more nebulous danger than like that danger of anonymity. People think of like mob mentality. When I say take away responsibility, they think of like Godwin's law, which is how internet forums necessarily devolve into comparisons with Hitler and Nazism because people just love to call other people Hitler when they don't know who they're talking to. The same thing happens in crowds. People throw rocks from crowds when they're wearing masks, but they don't when they take them off. So I was writing about how anonymity can also be empowering, because at Pomona, people are really afraid of offending each other, but they're also huge proponents of taking apart each other's comments. And the two together can lead to people being really afraid of speaking out. You will hear kids saying a lot like I am, prefacing comments with I just think, ending comments with like, I feel rather than I know, I rather than it is. And I think, I said it. Probably, oh God, I broke something, I didn't. Probably this sort of shying away from taking strong opinions has to do with what is a vastly lower rate of actual activism happening on liberal arts colleges campuses than on large universities ones. But I started talking about real things, and I don't know why that really happened. I want to go back to talking about things like foam, because that's what we're up here for, I guess. Have some fun. Your herpes story reminded me of something. It's okay, audience. It's fine, I promise.
I didn't have it, by the way.
No, good. It wasn't herpes. It was, oh God, it was mono. Mono reminds me of two stories. I got made fun of in middle school a lot because I got mono at an all-boys camp, and middle schoolers are homophobic. You can get mono in a lot of ways. Making out is just one of them, in fact, I told my middle school friends. But on the subject of mono, I was last year sitting at like 2 in the morning on a baseball bench behind the field, watching some acquaintances of mine smoke drugs out of a bong. Unnamed acquaintances so far. Hopefully I will not make that mistake. And I remember one of the people in the crowd had mono, and so the rest were using like a toilet paper roll to extend it so they didn't have to put their mouth on the bong so they wouldn't get the mono. And there was this really funny moment where one of my friends in his stupor, accidentally put his mouth on the bong and stood up and said, "Oh God." And he was totally high, and I was totally not, and he started running, and I was like, "Quick, sanitize your face on the grass." And he took this just incredible leap, just this wild leap, hands behind his back, and just face first into the grass, and just got mud all over his face, and this was all in an attempt to sanitize his face, which went poorly. He moved on to Purell his lips, which also I heard went poorly, but I didn't see that happen. Speaking of things that are clean and things that are dirty, I wanted to move on to another subject. I spent a year before I got to Pomona College in a Brazilian favela that was called Baixo do Petróleo na Mangueiriça, which is like a pretty cool name. It means under the oil. It's called under the oil, but it's actually above the oil. It's a famous place because it's the poorest neighborhood in the poorest part of Brazil, which has the largest wealth gaps in all of South America. So it's like a pretty intense place. If any of the audience members have seen City of God, it's a pretty fair comparison. It's kind of what it looks like. So I thought it was an interesting story, so I thought I might share it. It was built on an old cemetery for African immigrants who had come in and didn't have any space to actually buy cemetery plots. They buried their dead in the mud. It became a cemetery. The government turned that cemetery into a garbage dump. As disrespectful as that is, they did. And then in later years, concrete was poured on top of that garbage dump because by more immigrants who didn't have any sort of legal status but needed somewhere to stay. So you're staying on top of concrete, which is on top of a garbage dump, which is on top of a cemetery, which means when it rains, everything is really stinky. But also creates like a really fascinating place to walk around. I have some good stories from Brazil, I think, some all right ones. People got shot a lot. Those are like not that interesting. They're just like kind of sad. There was a really cool time when I was playing soccer. There's a place called Lago do Papagaio, which is like it's called Parrot Lake, and it's where 3 different favelas intersect, and where they all like play soccer against each other, which gets exciting, sometimes gets heated. And there was, everything happened really fast. What I saw was there was this guy on a motorcycle, and this kid came and pulled him from the back and tried to pull him off his motorcycle. And then this guy revved his engine, zoomed away, turned around, tried to run the kid over for trying to steal his motorcycle, and then left. And so I thought the action was over, but the action was in fact not over. So this kid walked away, was kind of pissed off that he had failed in his attempt, but he didn't realize that he was trying to steal something on someone else's territory. And there was this little 12-year-old kid who was wearing this long bathing suit to his knees, and he pulled this machete out of his shorts. And he lifted it up, and I just remember this glint off the machete. It was this really amazing frozen moment. And then all hell broke loose, and everyone just started running in different directions, as did I. So I don't know really what happened after that, but that was exciting. Speaking of exciting moments and shining knives, I also wrote a poem, but I don't have it. My title is about the same length as yours. It was called Existential Nipple, Suckling Absurdity. I gotta bring it out onto the main stage. I will soon enough. It's sort of trying to border that line between art and making fun of art, but that just either turns into art or me looking stupid and mean. So it might not come out onto the main stage. But speaking of poems that have not yet come out onto the main stage, I had a recent experience with Anis Mojgani, who came, and he's a slam poet. He won best slam poet in the United States, and he came to speak to Pomona, and it was totally beautiful. And we went out to dinner with him afterwards because a friend of mine was the one who brought him. And we went out to dinner with him, and he asked me what I would write a poem about, and I told him I'd watched this talk by Neil deGrasse Tyson on how, taken literally, scientifically, the molecules, the atoms within your body were once in exploding stars that solidified into matter. That matter can't be destroyed or created, and so you were once the universe will be you. Kind of a beautiful notion. You can work from that. And I recently saw a poem by him on the same topic, and it got me really excited, so I'm going to try to email him and maybe get some props, or maybe just get talked down to and be like, you're an idiot. Of course I knew that. Speaking of poems and beautiful notions, I don't know where that one takes me. Speaking of poems and beautiful notions, I was reading an article recently on the infinity of pi. Lexie also discussed pi. Oh God, it's all a big circle. We're coming, pi is a big circle. We're on a lot of levels here, people. This is exciting. So pi is infinite. Which means that pi contains every number sequence you can think of, which means pi contains binary code for your destiny written out perfectly in everything you ever will do and have done, which is kind of an amazing thought. It necessarily contains that. Speaking of numbers and their metaphorical, maybe even religious consequence, I had a rabbi named Herman. A rabbi named Herman was a very nice man who cooked great kosher brownies. He once tried to prove the existence of God to me by telling me that his son won the lottery. And I remember that, and I was like, why does that really matter? A lot of people win the lottery, and they're not all the son of a rabbi. And he said, but look at the Bible. And so he showed me the Bible and showed me where it was written out that his son would win the lottery. And it wasn't written in Hebrew. It was written in sort of diagonal-ish Hebrew, and it was Herman's son win. I was like, look. And I was like, well, you got me there. But on the topic of you got me there and rabbis, I'm kind of out of things to say. Because rabbis, I don't know. I guess I've had a pretty good experience with rabbis in my time. I had a good bar mitzvah. My bar mitzvah was an Orthodox service, which people resented seriously, because I had a 3-hour-long service, and it was mostly, like, I really didn't get to talk much, because it was mostly the older men arguing at the front. But it was mostly unpopular because women were separated from men, which meant my mother had to sit upstairs, and she was mad about that. But it was almost worth it because I had the first party where anybody made out in Friends Seminary history, and that was huge. And after people started making out, it was just like wildfire. It caught and everyone was making out. I was not among the first people who made out. I did not make out at my bar mitzvah, but people did, and I was generous enough to set the stage, so I'm satisfied. People also got temporary tattoos, which are cool, and trucker hats, which are cool, which were cool. They're no longer cool. People also got to dance with lots of older women because I have an older sister, and she brought them. And it was exciting. It was great. I also brought my younger cousin, and so he got to dance with older women. It was great. I don't know how I got here, but speaking of older women, my mother is coming to visit soon. I'm excited about that. Me and my mother get along well. Her name is Susan. She's a playwright. She would probably approve of what I'm doing right now, if not of what I'm saying. Indeed. I feel like I'm pretty satisfied with the amount of minutes I've gone. I feel very proud. None of you look happy, so we've gotten there. That's good. I think I'm gonna quit. Wait, I don't have anything to leave you guys with though. What you guys should come to my suite in the Ritz-Clarkton, and we should have a party. Because we don't throw enough parties, and Pomona and the Crusaders Against Fun will not win, and open mics will win. I think The Mask is a great idea, speaking of anonymity. V for Vendetta was a great movie. Yeah, Guy Fawkes is cool. And other than that, this was fun. Thanks for letting me talk a lot. Woo! Oh, wow. That's liberating.
Let's hear it again for Adam Horowitz.
Thank you.
Good job. You did a good job.
Thank you.
What's your name?
My name's Adam.
I'm Richard. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. Thanks.
So Adam is about to earn $17.
Woo! Wow. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
$3 short of the max for tonight, but still an excellent.
Okay, all right.
And you're a Pomona student.
I am a Pomona student, yeah.
So 17. You'll just sign.
Totally cool. I will sign for $17. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's make this official.
We're going to count this to 7.
Oh yeah, we can. Well, how do you want to do it? Fast or slow?
I don't know. Whatever's more for that.
All right, so everybody, this is how we do it. So if you'll put your palm out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Amazing! You count that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm totally coming back.
Yeah, please do. Bring your friends. So again, thank you so much for being here at the Bureau of Experimental Speech and Holy Theses. We're currently doing our periodic Diction-for-Dollars event. A couple announcements, just so people are aware, is tonight at 8 o'clock we're going to have some presentations. I'm going to be doing a lecture about BESHT, a very short lecture, about 10 minutes, followed by a lecture by Jeffrey Daniel Schmidt, who will be reciting a lecture that John Cage recited back in 1927 at the age of 15 that won the Southern California Oratorical Competition at the Hollywood Bowl. And then we'll also, we were going to be having G. Douglas Barrett tonight to finish out that section of the program, but he's stuck in New York, well, in Toronto because of Hurricane Sandy, and so Mr. Niko Solorio will be with us a little bit after 8 as well. As soon as that program is up, we'll return to the Diction-for-Dollars for the remainder of the evening, or for the remainder of the budget. One last reminder is back, Niko, would you lift up that little wooden box right next to you? So there's a little wooden box back there, and there are a bunch of feedback slips. So if you see any speakers tonight that you feel like deserve some feedback or need some feedback, both positive, negative, neutral, whatever, feel free to fill one of these out, and it may appear in our final and 5th publication that will be coming out the last week. It should be noted that I don't know if I mentioned this, but everybody who's spoken tonight and who speaks throughout this set, the few weeks that we're here, will be earning their TMFA, their Toastmasters of Fine Arts. And so if you, I've got everybody's emails here, we will email you, and if you have time on December 6th, we'll be giving out awards for those who would like to graduate and get their TMFA certificate. So anyways, all sorts of wonderful prizes here. But next up, we should continue. Next up is going to be Mr. Will Carpenter, who he's going to present Will Gets a New Face. Yeah. All right. How many other people are signed up to speak? There's a couple others. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. A few things before I get started. I do like speaking, and I do like getting money, so I'm going to talk for a while, but also I do not want to bore you guys or let you down in any way. I just feel horrible when I let people down. So if you're getting bored or you don't like me, you're tired of looking at me, you can like actively boo me or thumbs down, anything. I won't feel bad. I'll feel a little bit bad, but I'll feel worse if you write bad things about me in the feedback thing. So that is a threat. No, it's not. I'm nice. So I wanted to say something that I've never said to anyone before. You know, we've all got our go-to stories, but I wanted to stray away from that. I spent a lot of time thinking about what to speak. While Adam was speaking, I kind of just zoned out and started planning this. I think it's safe to say we all zoned out for a while during Adam's speech. So I was texting myself about what I was going to say, because I text myself a lot of things, like personal reminders. I don't know if other people do that, but I put my phone number in my phone, and contact name, I just said myself. And so I text it, I send it, and then it arrives like instantly. It's a really good feeling, and keeps me from feeling lonely. So I thought I would just go through my text to myself and explain them, stories. Do we like this idea or not? If we don't, I'll just stop. I'll take no, kind of. Okay, and yeah. And if you want another one, boo me, heckle me, whatever. Some of them will evolve into stories. Some of them are not interesting at all. First one, I just got my iPhone at the beginning of the school year, so it starts at the beginning of the year. First one is just a doctor's appointment, just to remind you. It's a terrible start. It's awful. Second one is directions. This is not going very well so far. Third one. Here we go. Third one's a charm. I texted myself 100, 200 kilos. And that's because that number was very surprising to me, because Adam and I and our buddy Alex were on a road trip out here to Pomona. I'm from St. Louis. He's from New York. So is Alex. So they drove across to St. Louis, picked me up. we were going across, staying at hotels and staying with different relatives. It was as fun as any road trip is. Road trips I really encourage. Go road trips. And we stayed with somebody's relative, who I will not say. But so we arrived at his house in New Mexico. It's a small house. He lives by himself. And I'm sorry if you're disappointed walking away. That's okay. And it was just a regular old talk. He seemed kind of nice. We thought about, we were actually going to go out. I'll be honest, we were going to go to a strip club. Not because we like strip clubs at all. We do not. But like none of us had been there, and it was kind of just like exploring the world thing. And we did end up going at some point. It was a terrible experience. Can't say enough about how bad it was. Adam has pictures to prove it. I'm not smiling ever. And none of us liked it. But we didn't that night. We just hung out with said relative at his house, and we had a couple of drinks, and with said relative, it was maybe an uncle or something, or an aunt, I don't know. And it turns out as the night went on, he got kind of drunk. We were just hanging out with him, and turns out he's a drug dealer, or he used to be, and pretty big time. Pretty big time. So it was 100, 200 kilos of marijuana that he would bring over the Mexican border each shipment was 100, 200 kilos. And he had lived his life just as this big time drug dealer. And, I had never known that. None of us had ever known that. And he just told us stories all night long about dealing drugs and being alone, like renting out entire clubs, and then doing business in them with like one other guy, and they're wearing suits, and like the table is covered in diamonds. And he could be lying, but I'm pretty sure he's telling the truth, and it's pretty insane to think. Yeah, no, I'm not naming names at all. But he got busted for it already, so the government knows. So that's why it's okay, I think.
Big Brother might be watching.
Yes.
Or he might be watching.
Yeah. We can just move on to the next story. But yeah, that was pretty wild. Stories from a drug dealer. I was thinking, let's see, the next one is more about Pomona's attitude. It says microaggression creates a new moral binary. So Pomona, we kind of have this idea. It's really weird. Yeah, I text. Pomona has this idea that, and I don't even know what we say when we talk about Pomona, because it's such a common complaint that Pomona is very politically correct, and everybody complains about it, but I don't know that many people that are, and I don't know if it's just my social circle or what, but I don't know that many people that are actually politically correct themselves. Maybe I just put myself in the other camp. I respect the other ideas, but I think there's a problem sometimes that you run into, and that it's that when you're trying to transcend the language with bad stereotypes that we use, and you're trying to go above it, find a new territory. I think you can kind of run into, I don't know, okay, that's fine. Thank you. Sometimes I think when you try and move up and become more politically correct, the whole idea sort of has this illusion sometimes that you're moving to a place where like we can't even judge people on anything, and I don't know exactly what that means, and I haven't carried the thought all the way through, but like you have to separate people from each other in some way, and you have to have some basis on which you form communities and things. And I'm not trying to support stereotypes in any way, but I think and sometimes it even creates this new moral scale where people who are more politically correct are good, people who are not are bad, and I think that's sort of falling into the same problem that it's trying to escape. And I think that's enough of that. Next one's a little more lighthearted reminder to get myself ant traps and wasabi almonds from Target. Sorry, the voice cracked. I don't do a lot of public speaking. I thank you for bearing with me as I improve my public speaking skills, and hopefully this has been entertaining to you. Next few things. Dave Brubeck is a wonderful jazz artist. Yeah. Yes, I love him. Just got into him. Haven't gotten that into jazz, but I want to, and I've just listened to a lot of Dave Brubeck, and it's great. Modern popular music these days. Just not so good. Speaking of popular music, the next thing I texted myself was a popular song by Deadmau5. It's called Rope, and I like it. So some popular music is okay. The next thing was about Magic. It's a card game. It's not interesting. Getting into some boring things. The Birth of Tragedy is apparently a great book about acting and things that you should read. And that's about it. I think I'm gonna recite one poem, and then that'll be it. This poem is called Waiting for the Barbarians. It's by C.P. Cavafy. Here we go. What are we waiting for assembled in the forum? The barbarians are due today. Why isn't anything going on in the Senate? Why are the senators sitting there without legislating? Because the barbarians are coming today. What's the point of senators making laws now? Once the barbarians are here, they'll do the legislating. Why did our emperor get up so early? And why is he sitting enthroned at the city's main gate in state, wearing the crown? Because the barbarians are coming today, and the emperor's waiting to receive their leader. He's even got a scroll to give him, loaded with titles, with imposing names. Why have our two consuls and praetors come out today wearing their scarlet togas? Why have they put on bracelets with so many amethysts, rings sparkling with magnificent emeralds? Why are they carrying their elegant canes, beautifully worked in silver and gold? Because the barbarians are coming today, and things like that dazzle the barbarians. Why don't our distinguished orators turn up as usual to make their speeches, say what they have to say? Because the barbarians are coming today, and they're bored by rhetoric and public speaking. Why this sudden bewilderment, this confusion? How serious people's faces have become. Why are the streets and squares emptying so rapidly, everyone going home lost in thought? Because night has fallen and the barbarians haven't come. And some of our men just in from the border say there are no barbarians any longer. Now what's going to happen to us without barbarians? Those people were a kind of solution. Thank you.
Let's hear it again for Avery Kirkland. Will Carpenter. Yo, Avery! Excuse me. So you're Pomona affiliated, is that correct? one sec. All right. So thank you so much. Again, this is Diction for Dollars. We'll go ahead and jump into the next person. Just a reminder that everything here is being broadcast online, live, and recorded. So now if anyone wants to sign up, all you need to do is come find me during while someone else is speaking or during a break, and you can come and sign up. So the next speaker will be Avery Kirkland, and he'll be speaking on a brief history of the Italian-Ethiopian War. Let's give it. Is Avery here? Yes. Give it up for Avery.
All right, I will be cognizant of that as I speak for you guys. I would like to thank the people watching on the live stream for watching. I would like to thank everyone here today for participating, whether that's an observance or speaking, as a couple folks have. My speech is going to be a little interactive. I'm going to respond to the earlier speeches. I'd also like to add that mine is going to be totally truthful, because I catch on to ideas and just run with them, and I think that a lot of the best humor and irony comes from observation of real things. First off, tip to the gentleman in the striped shirt, great speech, but as far as texting yourself, I think you have an iPhone. I've got a BlackBerry. Mine has a memo pad feature on it where you can write endlessly, and you can save it, which I don't know if that's safer than texting, but if you're talking about kilograms, that might avoid being on the satellites and all that. I don't know, maybe not. I bet you if they really wanted to find your stash or whatever, they could pick up whatever they want off your phone. But in case that comes useful in future public speaking contests. If you guys know the lady who spoke about her first kiss, she mentioned some movies, and I'd like to recommend a movie. It's called Dead Man on Campus. It's kind of a morbid title, and it's a little creepy, but the movie itself is a lighthearted reflection on bizarre, small liberal arts colleges, so it might be a little relevant here in Pomona. I'd like to add about Pomona today that I'm an alum of the class of 2010. Excuse me. And I'm on campus to network and connect with my former professors. I'm working on several projects, including I'm starting my own record label. I'm commissioning some art for that, and I'm also launching a website. And I'm networking with professors. Actually, I discovered this event when I was in Thatcher Hall, just across the way. Ooh, got a little loud there. I'll be gentler. I was in Thatcher Hall, just across the way, and one of my professors I would recommend to anyone here to investigate Bobby Bradford. He is a free jazz pioneer who now teaches in the music program here, and I'm hoping I can get him on my record label. It's a small world, with the whole music industry, convergence, social media and stuff. Everything's up for grabs, so I'm really going for it. What other notes did I write myself on a text, not a memo pad, because I'm a hypocrite? The bar mitzvah you talked about earlier sounds awesome. I would take issue with the fact that you said trucker hats are not that cool. One of my entrepreneurial goals is actually to have a trucker hat issued, and it relates to my speech tonight, which contains excerpts from this book about the Italian-Ethiopian War. So that was not a misleading title, now that I'm talking about a bunch of random stuff. But if you could imagine a trucker hat styled after the way this guy dresses, I think that would be pretty cool. It's like got this royal golden adornment stuff. So it'd be kind of ironic because trucker hats, I'm from Northern California, trucker hats are usually associated with like a bro-y culture. Usually someone who has a trucker hat drives, maybe a Ford F-150 and listens to, new metal, rap metal crossover music and stuff. So I can see why it might not seem like the coolest thing, but I am making them cool again. That's my goal. I thanked some people earlier, but I'd like to thank some more people, or not people. I'd like to thank this glorious backdrop right here. I am a huge proponent of three-dimensional grid art like this right here. I can't even tell what, like, I'm just totally disoriented right now by that. I'd also like to reference this Mac screenshot here. It's very retro. I grew up using, I have a computer science background, and some of my, excuse me, now my voice is cracking. Some of my earliest memories are with computers not unlike this. I even used an Apple II with the green on black screen, but this came a little later. This is one of the earliest iterations of the Mac operating system, although I guess it's kind of late because it's got this wireless logo right here. But I'm taking, synchronous clues. This is probably late 90s. So, kudos to whoever is the technological artist, the computer artist who did all this stuff. I like the alligator right here. And the mic seems to be working pretty well, so that's effective as well. What else did I want to talk about before I read some way more serious excerpts from this book? Well, getting back to the bar mitzvah, I like older women and I like bars, and that relates to something else I'm going to talk about later, so I think that sounded like a rad event. I also, speaking of bars and women, I went out, this girl asked me for a date. I went out on a date last Friday, and it was a first date, and the girl invited me to go to the strip club with her, and this is a true story, and I was like, that's a little forward, but it was for her girlfriend's birthday. And I was like, okay, whatever, sure, okay, I guess that's cool. We had a limo, there's a lot of drinking. That was fun. The strip club part was not, I agree with you, they're not fun there, especially this one was in Sacramento. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Sacramento, but don't. So anyways, this girl is like incredibly excited to get her first lap dance, which that was like from another girl, and I was like, okay, go ahead. I guess it's a birthday party, we're all cutting loose, and she got so inspired by it that she signed up for like a pole dancing class. So I'm kind of, very forward dating arc here. So I don't know what's going to happen next. Nothing's happened. She's very interested. I'm obviously, interested but hesitant given that all that I just told you, which is crazy. Anyways, I just put all that stuff about a strip club on the internet, so I hope this doesn't come back to me later. Anyways, I used my real name. Maybe should have used a pseudonym. I'm writing right now. I think it's going to be so politically vitriolic that I might have to release it under a pseudonym. But I'm consulting with my former professors on campus about that. So we'll see. But we'll see how that goes. My former professors, I studied Africana studies on campus, which influences my selection of reading that will come shortly. This book is My Life in Ethiopia's Progress, Volume 1, 1892 to 1937, the autobiography of Emperor Haile Selassie I. You may recognize some excerpts from this if you listen to a lot of reggae music. But back to our lovely event here. I'm not a great public speaker, and I'm just trying to make sure the mic picks all this up, but I'm glad that you all seem to be moderately interested. I haven't chased away a guy in a trucker hat yet, but I guess maybe you were doing a favor since trucker hats aren't that cool. On texting yourself, I already covered that. Okay, so yeah, find a notepad program. It'll save you, snitching on yourself about kilos. Everyone, okay, yeah, so I would like if anyone in here has a phone, I've been looking at my phone too much. If you want to look at your phone, I think you should do it. I was at a Jay-Z concert, and he actually, in the 60s or whatever, hippies would put their lighters in the air, but he said, everybody put your cell phone in the air. And I thought it was totally ridiculous, but I guess, he's maybe subverting the thing that it's rude to use your cell phone. I don't know. So I would like to invite anyone to use their cell phone for any reason or no reason at all, or just to shine a light on their face, like make it more of a concert atmosphere. So one thing to note is that I actually was on my way to a friend's house who is inviting me to an open mic. This is not a joke. He's a casualty of substance use. He's not all there in the head. He's a great guy, but he thinks he's a rapper. So he goes to open mics all the time, despite the fact that people usually tell him to be quiet. So, but then, I could be inviting the same criticism here, although I'm not a casualty of that thing. So, I don't know. Dave Brubeck is great. I am a DJ and record collector, and if you like Dave Brubeck, you should also check out someone named Cal Tjader. It's spelled Cal, Tjader. I would say he's at least as good as, well, they're different subgenres of jazz. I took history of jazz with Bobby Bradford, who I told you guys about earlier, so, I'd like to think I know a thing or two. I have way too many jazz records. I'm selling off a lot of them right now, but I already told you guys about my record label. Magic the Gathering. I was obsessed with Magic the Gathering from age like 8 to 14, and then I had my dream crushed. This is all true. I had my dream crushed of being a semi-professional Magic the Gathering tour, competition deal. I literally would read magazines for strategies and stuff. I was that deep into it as a 12-year-old. And actually, I met one of the, I have the great honor or perhaps nerd, tarnishing, memory trauma of having several matches with the very first two professional Magic the Gathering players. I forget both of their names because I tried to block out that period of my life, but yes, the guy who won the very first professional Magic tournament, I gave him a run for his money. If you guys need evidence, I'd be happy to tell you more about the details of the card game, but that's probably the most boring thing in the world. So, yeah, I nearly beat the inventor of a certain type of deck with his own deck. So I guess that makes me the nerdiest of nerds. I like your barbarian poem. Oops. I don't like popping mics. I like the poem, and I thought it was very postmodern how it mentioned public speaking while you were speaking in public. It was very third wall breaking, performance art style. And now that I'm out of text fuel, I will take it to the totally serious recitation of some interesting chapters of this book. Basically, Ethiopia was the only country in Africa not to be ever colonized, although a part of it was separated into a peninsula country called Eritrea, which is today remains a, well, this is my major now, Africana Studies, but it's kind of a crossover between Ethiopia and Italy. They eat Ethiopian food and they eat pasta there, and it's crazy. It's a crazy story, so I will just jump right into it. I'm going to read a few select passages, not going to beat you in the head with a book. But basically, I'm going to describe a little bit of the early stuff in Ethiopia. Prior to 1909, ministers had been appointed for all the work of government. I'm going to annotate my own knowledge here. It was a Christian monarchy in Ethiopia that dating back to even before Roman Christianity or post-Roman, kind of uniting of pagans into Christianity. Anyways, ministers had been appointed for all the work of government, but no proper allocation of duties in writing had been given to them for all their work. And as they did not have adequate office accommodation, it was in their private houses that they frequently carried on their ministerial business. Basically, this means that in this time period, Ethiopia was just codifying its laws and writing a constitution and doing all the things that a modern nation state is expected to do. Then, from 1930 to 1920 onwards, the operations of government were gradually straightened out as we imported from Europe regulations and books which were suitable for all their work, as we arranged for offices to be built for each of the ministers and provided them with some foreign advisors whom we assigned to their ministerial activities. As there did not exist in Ethiopia anything like an adequate printing press for books, all books had to be written by hand. Consequently, all the people had great difficulty in finding and reading books. The reason was that it was not possible to make available to everybody books written by hand because the price was very high. So this is, almost prehistoric in the sense that literacy was, a very scarce, elite privilege, and the Ethiopian language is called Amharic, but the irony is that Ethiopia became instantly through this story became an essential component of modern international relations. I think it's a pretty amazing story. I'm going to jump ahead to the part where Ethiopia attempts to join the League of Nations, which is kind of the precursor, the World War I era precursor to what we now know as the UN. When the Great World War was over, it was feared that a similarly dreadful war might break out again in future. Therefore, if a League of Nations having been established, a quarrel arose between two governments, the willful waging of war having ceased, the matter about which the quarrel occurred would come before the League. So basically he's saying, after the League of Nations was established following World War I, that's how they would seek to air out their differences. After investigation, judgment would be given by the vote of the League, it having become manifest in accordance with the importance of the conflict that a certain government had given offense, while another government had been the victim of that offense. Seems simple enough, but as the UN and other organizations tend to demonstrate, these processes are easily corrupted. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit more. The emperor starts by writing, "It would be of great benefit if Ethiopia were to enter the League of Nations. It is necessary, however, in future to improve gradually our entire machinery of government, and therefore we ask them to let us know their present thoughts, lest we should experience difficulties in the League if we failed to improve our governmental procedures." I'm sorry, I just had the terrifying thought that what if that girl is that I went on a date with is Facebook stalking me and just is streaming this and heard me air out her story of her discovering her inner stripper. A totally inappropriate time for me to have that thought. But actually, she did Facebook stalk me, and the irony is that it's such a small world. We had a whole conversation about Facebook stalking, and she's like, "All right, now I have to see if I can find you," because I changed my name to not my real name to obscure it, and so people can't find me. But lo and behold, she knows someone that I know from Pomona on Facebook. So of course she was able to find me through her mutual friends list, and it's just such a small world. Like the place that I met her and Claremont are intricately connected. I went to high school with people who then came here, and I went to school with them here, and then they ended up back home with me after going to grad school. And it's just way too small a world. I want to move to Ethiopia, so I'm going to keep reading about it. So back to the League of Nations. We asked them to let us know their present thoughts, lest we should experience difficulties in the League if we failed to improve our governmental procedures once we had entered the League. The nobles and minister declared unanimously that it was impossible to effect major improvements within 1 year, but that it was their wish to improve the entire work of government year by year in slow stages, and therefore it was right for us to enter the League. Hence, the question of our entry was decided. So basically, he's saying that by entering the League of Nations, he allowed himself and his people a source of information on how to create government that would increase their gradual acceleration into the modern world of how states are expected to conduct themselves. So this is why I consider this person a pioneer of international morality. They went on to form the Organization of African Unity, which was the first organization to unify any nations in Africa that previously did not see themselves as nations, but rather diverse ethnic groups. And next, I will read you a speech given to the League of Nations, which probably is more interesting, ironically, than all the other. 90 seconds. Well, in that case, I'll give you the fast version of the speech. Go listen to the song Bob Marley, War. And that's basically, it's a musical version, so you can dance to it and do other things to it, like, I don't know, like we've heard earlier stories. Thank you all for your time. I cannot believe I spoke for 18 minutes. I was not expecting that at all, and it's been lovely.
You're at 19 tenors. You don't want to talk for 15 minutes?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, he makes speeches about environmentalism, racism, and other things that are prescient issues that were prophetic and applicable even into the 21st century. So that's why I brought this book as part of my reading list and why I had it conveniently handy when I stumbled across this excellent competition. Man, I'm not going to have any breath, any voice left for the other open mic my friend is going to try and drag me to later tonight, but that's probably a good thing because they probably don't want to hear about this, and I will let my friend do all the talking because he talks way too much, and he will love it. I'll let him wear his voice out, and then I won't have to hear him talk. Okay. This alligator? Ooh.
Awesome. If you will, are you Pomona affiliated or? Well, that's still affiliated, I think. Yeah, just sign. Okay, so let's.
Oh, you even got a radio check.
Oh yeah.
What's the movie called?
Dead Man on Campus. It's like Big Man on Campus, but creepier.
And what's your book called?
I'll show it to you. My Life in Ethiopia's Progress.
All right, so will everybody help us out? So Avery's the first one tonight, and of the entire Diction-for-Dollars series to go the entire permitted duration of the night, which is $20 for 20 minutes. So everybody, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, sign. All right, this is going fabulously. Let's look at the time. It's so there's about 35 minutes left of the first half of tonight's Diction-for-Dollars, and then we'll pause for a short break at 7:30. We'll have more, and then some talks at from 8 to around 9, and then some more Diction-for-Dollars after that. But let's continue. Next up will be Niko Solorio, who'll be talking about toxic high school. Give it up for Niko Solorio.
How many minutes did I do last time?
You did 9, right? Didn't you do
11. So you can do up to 9. Yeah, so if you split, Niko is a good example of, he's already gone, but you can go up to 20 minutes tonight. So he's going to do 9 or less. Oh, have to shake hands.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to put this down.
Niko Solorio, everyone.
So, hi. So, it's an open mic, and I guess that means you can kind of do whatever you want, and so I am. And I had done a lecture earlier today, which went quite well, and I had given away some toxic high school stickers. So I don't really know what that means in terms of, I was told to put a topic down about what I was going to talk about, but I don't really think I'm going to talk about toxic high school. Rather, I'm going to pass out toxic high school stickers as one part. Oh yeah, they're yours. And in the spirit of high school, I guess I'm going to do a cover song of a Thurston Moore song from Psychic Hearts. And I've been working on it, so it's sort of in a somewhat spoken word element, so I think it's appropriate for, giving these stickers to you, because in the end, what's really the most awkward time of our lives than high school, at least for me. I know you had a fucked up life, growing up in a stupid town. Your mother was a mixed up jerk, and your father, he just fucked around a little too much for his own good. I'd kill the bastard if I could, and kill all the boys with their fucked up noise and all the bullshit they seem to enjoy. The kids at school call you slut, nothing but what the fuck are they into? The stupid fools, loser assholes, suck all the luck out of the world for you. If I can get it back to you, I will, and kick their asses all over town, all over town. I'll churn it over, but I don't even know you that well. What the hell, summer smell? What's it like going out? No one knows what you're about. Abused and used and cut into that hollow man with nothing to do. Laugh all the time, try to get high. And try to hide behind no lie. They fucked your head up, that's for sure. Your heart is ripped now, wrapped in gore. And did you know that sex is pretty insane? And magic seems to kill the pain, and things that go on inside your brain make you seem to think that you're to blame. Don't think about it, throw it out. Love them all and say it loud. Fight the scumbags that slap you around. Scream you're crazy, lost and found. We don't have to tell you what is right. We have all the faith it was not right. Sadness is as sadness was. Sadness will always be, because comfort comes around from the strangest of men. I got no time for sad songs, baby. Don't need you to say I'm crazy. You stick your tongue out and you look at me, and I will bite it off, you see, and push you down onto your knees. Do you laugh away the fleas? You're not the only boy in town, but you're the only one that's got me down. Psychic hearts go out to you. Psychic hearts go out to you. My prayer to you is that you do all the things you set out to do, and live your life the way you love. But will you remember one thing for me? I will always love you. I will always love you.
Let's hear it again for Niko Solorio.
How are the stickers?
With 8 minutes on the dot. So you still actually technically have 1 more minute. that you can
Oh,
use
well,
tonight.
we were going to talk about the stickers.
Well,
All right.
you can come
I'll come back for 1 hot minute.
So it's, just sign it there. Your other signature.
Because Mama needs to pay the bills.
All right, let's see what's happening. All right.
I like doing this. Can I do this all night? I'll just have my hand out.
All right, everybody help me out. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And the last one says, see where I've been, track where I go next. www.where'sgeorge.com.
Congratulations.
I got a stamp.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Just a quick reminder, this is Diction for Dollars. You can get paid $1 a minute for coming up and speaking. We have about 25 minutes left of this session, and then we'll take a short break and launch into the evening program, and then we'll do some more Diction for Dollars probably around sometime after 9. Just one heads up, out in the hallway, there's a fantastic publication, the BESHT Weekly, issue 1. This is the first of 5 issues that will be coming out during our run here at the Bureau of Experimental Speech and Holy Theses. A bunch of wonderful articles by many wonderful artists, and the most amazing designer, conceptualist of this and collaborator for BESHT is here, Ms. Tanya Rubak. And the most amazing copy editor in the world, Eli Pulcinelli. Anyways, it's fantastic, and there's going to be 4 more issues after this, so please stay tuned. These are free for the taking. And so next up for Diction for Dollars is Richard. Give it up for Richard. Oh, and Richard is going to be presenting Give Peace a Chance.
Give peace a chance. Never like John, all we are saying, give peace a chance.